Hey, welcome back in to another episode of Mindset Monday with me, Matt, one half of Two-Folk Couple, the lesser half, I would say, where I share with you things that have helped me over the last 13 years, getting sober, staying that way, rebuilding my marriage, and navigating what is otherwise a pretty hectic life. I didn't record one last week, and it felt really, really weird. And that's kind of what the episode's about, but it's about much more than that. I went through what is basically the first real case of burnout that I've had since we started the show. And it was on the heels of a trip that I took with some good friends of mine. These guys that I've known basically my entire life. We get away 3 days a year. We've done this for many years. We drive down to the Texas coast and we fish and we hang out and we catch up. And I didn't record before I left because I had it in my mind that I'll record when I get home. And something happened along the way that led to me not recording. And then I went through all kinds of thoughts about the show in general and the way that we've tried to balance our lives and thinking, is this the end? Is this not? And then something happened that turned it all around. And I think that there's a lesson in there that's valuable for me as for what I'm doing here in front of this microphone, but I think it's equally valuable for you. And that's what the episode is going to be about. I think this is what's funny is that Paige and I are like fire and ice. Her episode, I think on Friday, was about how to know when to pause. And this is about the opposite of that. This is about how to know when to continue. And she's going to hear this and she's going to be like, what the hell? Like, are you trying to make me look bad? Like, why would you record that and put that out right after I just released the episode? This is just us, man. This is just how we roll. We are complete opposites in so many ways. But this is how I roll, and this is what's helped me. And so that's what these episodes are about. And I think that they're really, really helpful if you're someone like me who's in recovery, because you don't get a lot of rest. You don't get a lot of breaks. But I think just as much for spouses and partners too, how to push through. And when you do it, how to keep your mind in one piece as you're going through it. We're going to get to it. I think it's not going to be my typical outline episode. Here's a concept and here's how I work through the concept. This is a conversation I just want to have with the camera, which is kind of fun too. I enjoy doing these with the microphone for those of you that are just listening. Hey, let's get the sponsor stuff done though. Thanks to Soberlink, the sponsor of every show here for the last year or so, maybe two. I can't remember now, but they've been an amazing sponsor of our show. Soberlink is the world's greatest accountability device that just kind of happens to look like a breathalyzer. Hint, hint, that's what it is. It's a breathalyzer, but it's so much more than that. Because it's not just one that you buy and you use, the same one that you would say the batteries are dead on, or the same one that you would argue about whenever you're asked to use it, or you just kind of stop using it. Soberlink's got everything figured out for you. It's kind of an all-in-one accountability device. You set up a network of people that get notified every single time you use the device. So you can put your spouse on there, your partner, let's say a close friend of yours, let's say it's your sponsor or your marriage counselor, whoever would like to be involved in your recovery journey that you trust with this really important piece of your life that this is everything right now for you. This is a big deal. And some people get it, some people don't. The people that get it get in the circle and they get notified every time you use it. And it serves two purposes, really. One, it's going to keep you from stopping at the bar on the way home or picking up a bottle and drinking it in your truck on the way home or whatever you used to do to kind of sneak by, right? Because these people are going to get notified. You're going to have to use this thing, and it's got facial recognition technology. It's tamper-proof, so they know that it's you using it, and they get a notification. So it's going to keep you from those moments whenever you do feel weak. On the other side, it's going to give you support because these people know what you're doing and how hard it is and how hard you're working, and they're going to be able to support you and from a place of confidence because they're not being lied to anymore. That's another really valuable piece of this thing. This is really a gift that you give your loved ones. They don't want to search for bottles anymore. They don't want to come smell your breath. They don't want to wonder or be in fear. They don't want to do that anymore. Soberlink takes this off the table for them. Trust is lost in buckets and is rebuilt in tiny little droplets, and every negative test represents a little droplet back into that bucket of trust. It takes a long time to rebuild trust, y'all. Soberlink is something you can do to expedite that process. Listen, change behaviors are ultimately where it's at. Just change your behaviors, move forward. Some acknowledgement, some accountability, but Soberlink can help your spouse really begin to trust you again. And they're offering our listeners a pretty cool deal. These things used to cost money up front, and we had a discount coupon for that. No more of that. They're offering rentals now. For as little as $19 a month, you can rent the device. Now, I should say, there's also a component of this thing that is a monthly plan, kind of like your cell phone or something like that. So you've got the device component, then you've got the monthly plan. And they've decreased the cost of this thing to you up front. And since you're a listener of this show, they're going to send you a $100 rebate that you can use on anything. It's not really a rebate, it's a Visa gift card. You can use it on whatever, Tufo merch. You can use it on Amazon. You can use it on what you name it, right? On anything that you want. You can even apply it toward that monthly cost. It kind of offsets. Just go to soberlink.com/wheels. You can learn more about the plans. You can get that, enter your email address, and you can get that voucher, get that back, and begin to rebuild trust in your relationship. And while you're on the internet, check out tufo.com, TWFO.com. We just received a new shipment we are going to post about soon. We've got some fun things for you guys here pretty soon, but we've got merch on the website currently. Actually, we've got sweatshirts and we've got hats and we've got stickers. Maybe some t-shirts are still up there. I can't remember, but they will be soon if they're not. So don't worry about it. Don't fret. But while you're on there, you can also find out about our free Facebook community, which I'm going to reference throughout this episode probably a few times. It's a free community. As long as you're a listener, answer a few questions to get in. By the way we typically greet listeners is welcome back, welcome back. Or if you're just listening to Paige's episodes, hey y'all, you guys know it by then. If you don't answer the questions, we don't let people in because we have to keep that place safe. It's for listeners only, for people who are really engaged with the stuff. You can talk about episodes, but really you can share with each other. It's the most supportive group I've ever seen for spouses and partners. And I'm in a lot of these things, Paige's too. This is the best one. The best one, period. I'd put that against anything. It's the best one, and it's totally free, and it's just for you. Check it out by going to our website, twfo.com. Click on community. You can find out more there. We've also got a course that we built with a licensed therapist, Dr. Christopher Taylor. It's really Paige is the star of the show. Dr. Taylor does serve. He has the doctor's opinion, which is after every module. There's 10 modules that will help you reclaim you. This isn't just like a codependency course or anything like that. This is about the journey of reclaiming yourself, the journey at looking at reality of your relationship and being able to start to swallow some of those hard truths about what's really going on. And then once you've done that, how do I rebuild? How do I get to know me again? How do I find that girl that was inside that used to be just have a zeal for life? Or maybe that man that had a zeal for life and now it's gone. How do you begin to find that again after everything that you've been through? That's what the course is for. For the time being, we're also doing Wednesday night calls with those. So you get access to a even more exclusive community. Paige and I are generally, or one of us is usually in those, along with other people who are really, really working the deal. And they've had amazing results in their lives. We've seen people, really complete 180 in everything in their lives. It's amazing. It's not for people who are just in relationships or people who are just out of them. It doesn't matter because that's not what we talk about necessarily. It's about you. That's what we're doing. We're reclaiming you. The focus is back on you. And you can get, although there's no more discount coupon. I almost said it. We took that off. We just lowered the price of the course. So no discount coupon needed. It's easier that way. You can find out more about that on our website as well. I think that concludes all this stuff. We'll get into the episode. All right. So I think what this is at 30,000 feet, this is, you ever hit that wall in life where you just feel like, what's the point? Like you're showing up, you're doing the work, you're putting in effort, but sometimes it feels like nothing's clicking and nothing's changing. I'm sure you do. I've felt that way more times than I can possibly count. I felt this way before I went to treatment. I felt this way at times even after that, where you're doing so much and you're putting in so much effort and you're changing internally so much in a short period of time, but it takes a while for your external world to change. And when you don't have that feedback from the external world, it makes it even harder to continue on the path. I felt this way the first time I ever really tried to lose weight. If you ever tried to lose weight, like you have to take some pretty drastic measures right off the bat. Like we're going to go shopping and we're going to buy foods that we never eat. We're going to weigh this crap out. We're going to plan our meals. We're going to prep it all. Then I'm going to start exercising, which maybe you never used to do. You're not really sure where to start. So you look up what to do. Maybe you go to a gym, maybe you get a trainer. There's just so much that takes place in a short period of time. And you can do it all perfectly for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And you step on the scale and it's like, I've lost like a pound and I look the same and I'm working my ass off. What's the point? And it's really easy to get burned out in that journey, like really easy. I've done it more times than I can count. It took me falling off the horse probably 50 times before I finally got it. It's tough, man. And I think that growth and personal development's very much the same way. You can undergo some massive changes internally, and your external environment resembles essentially the one that was there before we started. And it can be really, really tough to keep going. Last week, I hit that wall. I ran smack into it, lost all my teeth. I generally record my episodes the night before they're due. Like, not much has changed from my study habits in high school, where I'm doing the work the night before the assignment is due. And primarily that's because that's just the way that life works for us. Let me run you through like a typical week for us, right? So I coach baseball for my son's team. We have at least 2 games a week, plus a practice, sometimes 2 practices, and then sometimes tournaments on the weekends. So on any given day, before I've ever seen the calendar, I know that probably 4 nights out of the week are going to be tied up for 2 to 3 hours with just baseball. On top of that, I run a business and I'm working my ass off in that. 10-hour days are pretty average. Usually, I'd only have to work Saturdays about once a month now, but it used to be every single Saturday or every other Saturday. It's rough, and it's a really, really stressful job. And so I'm doing that for 10 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week. I'm trying to take care of myself and go to the gym middle of the day. So it's usually at my lunch break, and I'm eating like some crappy lunch at my desk. I'm eating like egg whites and a protein bar or something like that, a salad if I can find it. And then in the middle of the day, in between phone calls, and like maybe I'll get 30 minutes here or there where it's kind of a slow period in the day, we're planning content, right? We're talking about our next episodes and things like that. And Paige and I try to record on Friday afternoons, like during my lunch break. I skip a workout, I come and get my re-record. And so we have it in time for our editor so he can do his awesome work that he does and get this thing out to you guys the following week. It doesn't always work that way though, because life happens. So a lot of times what we're doing is we're recording on like Monday night at like 10 o'clock or later. And then we've got little kids. We got to get them up and, get them to school. And so we've got 3 episodes a week, which means that 3 nights a week on top of the 4 we already have that are booked with sports and things like that. By the way, that's just my schedule. Paige has got her own. That's equally crazy. She's working on TUFO basically all day, every day throughout the week. And then in the evenings, she is taking our daughter to dance. She's a competitive dancer. She's dancing like 5 nights a week and like for 4 hours a night too. Like a lot of this stuff going on. So like we're in that season of life as parents where it's just nonstop as it is. Like it would be a lot even without the show and without the program. Wednesday nights, we're always, doing independently strong stuff. And it's just, it's a lot, man. That cadence is pretty heavy. And then, you've got social media. So you've got to keep up with social media. Social media will forget that you exist if you just disappear for a week or 2. The algorithms will certainly are non-forgiving about that kind of stuff, and they won't push your stuff. So you've got to plan your content, you've got to post your content, and you have to reply to comments, and you have to stay engaged. And then I like going in the community because those are people who are like really trying to do the deal, and they're there because they listen to our show. So I like to be engaged in there. And what I'm getting at here is just it's a lot, right? And when we started the show, I had this idea that we would do this for 5 years. And the reason I picked 5 years is because I had looked at other podcasts and things like that. And it looked like 5 years was about the point that if you stuck with it, you could build an audience appreciable enough. I'm not sure that's the right word. Large enough, I should say, that this could even become your full-time job with sponsorships and things like that. Because it's my dream job. I've always wanted to sit in front of a microphone and talk to people. Like that's always been my dream job. And so I figured like 5 years would be just a good arbitrary number to throw out there, and we could maybe do this thing for real. Because my dream in life is to be able to do this and help people and talk to people and interact with people and talk about the things that, we find interesting and have conversations like find our tribe. You know what I mean? And up until this point, man, like my cadence is heavy and it's crazy, and I don't get tired of it. I never get tired of it. I could record every night. I could stay up till 3 a.m. recording. It's fine with me. But it's not just my show. This is Paige's show. I'm just kind of along for the ride at the end of the day. This is about Paige. It's about people like Paige. I'm just here as sort of a side character to validate and to help spouses with some information behind the scenes that they're probably not getting from the person that's in their life. Just because I'm at a point further on along the lines, I can look back and see things clearly. And I work with a lot of people in it that are still in it. And so I've got insight that most shows don't have because of that. But I've got to drag Paige through this, and she gets burned out a lot. She's like, this is just a lot, dude. Like, this is so much. Like, what have we gotten ourselves into? And I'm always the one who's like, it's okay. It's okay. Like, let's just, you can take a step back, and she's done that before, and that's healthy. And I love that she does that. But I've always been the one who just go. And I'm like this with pretty much everything in life. This is just the way that I'm wired. If I find something that I'm passionate about, I'm going to go a million miles an hour until I die. That's just how I roll. Like I have no plans on ever retiring in my life. That sounds miserable to me. Retirement. No, thank you. I will be working on something or in something until the day I die. I'll die at my desk probably, and I'll be happy. That's the way that I'm wired. When it comes to like exercise and working out, it's just go. When it comes to work, it's go. When it came to the show, it's go nonstop. I went on this trip with my friends. We went down to the Texas coast. We've done every year. I didn't record before I left and didn't think too much of it because I would get home Sunday late. I would record it. I'd edit it. I'd publish it. We'd be good to go. And I think it was probably the week leading up to that was really, really stressful at work. We had just finished up a quarter, and end of quarters for us is just always insane. It's nuts. The volume increases and it just goes crazy. It's a hell of a lot of work to do for our team and me too. And I guess it was some of that. And then I think it was getting down to the coast and being at such a slow pace in life and hanging out with people that you love and you haven't seen them forever and you're catching up. And I got in the groove of that and I got really, really comfortable in it. And I had this thought like, man, this is really nice. Like, it's really nice to not post anything. It's really nice to not have to think about anything. It's nice to just exist, you know, like we work in recovery so that we can get our lives back, not so that recovery is our entire life. Now, I do think that early on, it needs to be your life. I think it needs to be a huge, massive part of your life because you have to cement those new habits over your old ones. And then I found balance as time went on, but I'm talking years in, like 3 to 5 years is when I started to find balance. The first 3 years, ask Paige, I was gung-ho as anyone could possibly be about it. And then I sort of dial it back as I'm comfortable slowly. And then I'm at a point now where it's like I found balance and I'm good, but it took me an effing decade to do it, right? But with the show, I've never done that. We're still in that early period. Like if you want to be relevant and you want to make a difference with your message and you want to help people, you've got to go hard and heavy. But being down there with those guys, man, it was like, I kind of like this. I like not having to think about stuff. I like not having to worry about it. I like not having to post. And I started to have this thought like, man, maybe we're at a point with the show where that's all we've got to say. Like maybe this is the point at which we sort of tap out. I was listening to my feelings about it and I'm like, you know, you never get tired. And if you're tired, that means something. And maybe are you doing this for you now? Or are you doing it for other people? Because if you're doing it for you, that's the wrong reason. I think some of it's about us, sure, but because it's our lives, you know, but a lot of it is about other people. In the beginning, it was, we wanted to put out a message into the world that we thought could be helpful to others. We've never been like an influencer type couple. It's like, oh, look at us. Like no, not us at all, man. It's always been about how what we learned could benefit other people. And we share that stuff and we give our insights and our thoughts and our experience. And we hope that it helps people. And we think it does. And I guess you can lose sight of that sometimes when you're just so in it all the time, because like a lot of other things, content creation can become sort of like a job as you're thinking about things. And like one of our core values is authenticity. And if you can't sit in front of a microphone and have an authentic conversation, it doesn't need to be out there. And so like we've never made an episode that was just to make an episode. like, oh, whatever, just put it out. It doesn't matter. Like every one of them has thought into it, and it has emotion and like real experience and a whole lot of love and care, because that's number one for us. If and people know the difference. We know that. I know that. So why wouldn't you guys know that? Like I know a lot of shows will just put shit out to put shit out every week because they've got sponsorship obligations and contracts to fill, whatever else. Like I didn't even care about that. I was just like, if I don't have anything to say, then I don't have anything to say. And that's kind of the point where I was at. I was thinking about, man, coming home and recording and sitting in front of the microphone, I have nothing to say right now. I don't have anything to say other than the fact that we're 3 years in and maybe that's it. I think in 3 years, like I'm proud of the things that we've done. I'm proud of the people that we've helped and the messages that are out there. I think that we've made a mark in some way, and like that should be good enough. Like in some ways that's where my mind was at. And I came home and I told Paige, like, I don't really know where I'm at with this now. I thought I'd feel better after I got some sleep, but I don't. I kind of still feel the same way. Maybe we need to start to think about winding this thing down and what that would look like. Obviously still be there for everyone who's in the program. But for the show itself, like maybe it's time to dial it back. And I didn't really know what to make of it. Like the thought of not recording the show anymore, like not carrying the pressure, not worrying about something that I say that might screw somebody up or that would like get me canceled, or like the thought of that brought me peace for the first time ever. And that's kind of how I knew that I was in trouble. And then something happened. I was on my way home, sitting in traffic, and I got a notification. I just happened to be on TikTok, like dead stop traffic. And I happened to look at my phone, and I get a notification that someone has mentioned Tufo on TikTok, like tag Tufo or something like that. And that's not like uncommon. People do like put us in their stories and stuff like that. But this person had made a video, and I clicked on the video, and there was this person who was more or less recording their healing journey. And they were tagging Tufo, and they were tagging VEER, which is our process: validate, educate, empower, recover, which is like what the course is based on. That's what our content's based on. Like we validate people first, and then we educate people, and then we empower people, and then we show them hopefully a semblance of what the recovery path will look like for them. And she was doing it, man. And it just suddenly hit me. Like in that moment, it all just clicked. She'd been recording these videos and tagging Tufo, and I don't know this person. I'm watching her, and I don't know her. This person is completely separate from me and Paige, and she's being impacted by something that we created. And I just started crying. Like I was so touched by that. I was covered in goosebumps. And then I realized in that moment, like this thing is bigger than us now. It's so much bigger than us now. And I hopped in the community, and I'm in there, and I'm reading people's stories, and I'm looking through comments, and we have the best audience in the world. And the people in our community are second to none. They are so supportive. Never in our community will someone say that they're hurting and they don't know what to do. And it could, a lot of times they're anonymous posts, so you can't even put a face to it. They're just reading the words, and they'll hear their stories, and they'll offer real love in return. They'll offer real, like constructive advice on what they've done in those same situations. Sometimes they're just there for people. What you won't hear is just focus on you, stop worrying about them, or just leave. We don't say that kind of shit. Our listeners are the best. Like they give people real love and feedback and help and assistance. And sometimes they're just there to be an ear or a shoulder to cry on. And I'm looking at this, and I'm like, all these people now are like running with this thing, and it's so much bigger than us. And like, I don't know what it was. Maybe I just needed to cry. I don't know. But like when I saw her video, it wasn't pride. Like it wasn't pride at all in me or in Paige. It was pride in her. It was like, look at you go. Like you're doing it. Like I was so freaking proud of her, man. Like she took what we said and she did something with it. And she turned pain into growth, and she found her strength again. She's finding her strength again. And I can only imagine, I can't wait to see where she is in a year or 2 years or 3 years. And that's kind of when I understood something. And I've always sort of known this, but in this moment, it just became so real that we're just the vessel for the message. Like Paige and I are just the vessel. The message is so much bigger than us. We just happen to be the two with the microphone and the accounts that put it out there. But the message is the message, and the message is what's powerful. And it could have come through anybody. It just happened to come through us. And that's a responsibility. That's a massive responsibility, because when you create something that helps other people, you become part of their story, whether you mean to or not. And they become part of yours. And that's what I want you all to know, whoever's listening to this, is like, you guys are such a part of our story now too. You have no idea. I don't think we could have ever dreamed that the show would be what it is now. Like, we knew that like maybe our friends and family would listen, and like some people that were like we've known online, but we didn't expect this. And the fact that it's gotten the momentum it has just tells me how important that message really is. That this message with nuance that we discuss here every single week, that how pivotal that is, and how many people are in it. Like it's insane how many people are touched by addiction, and not just addiction, but abusive relationships as well. It's insane. I mean, if you think about the average person who struggles with addiction, how many people are they really affecting? I had an estimate on this at one point. I would venture to say 25 people at least that you affect in some way, shape, or form. Because if you think about your employer and you think about your coworkers, let's say that you have to call into work for 3 days. Your employer's affected, those customers are affected, your coworkers, your boss is affected, your coworkers are, and they might have to reschedule their stuff, which affects their kids and their wife, not to mention your own wife and your close friends, your doctors, your family, your children. Like, all these people are touched by this thing, and each and every one of them have a story. Each and every one of them have a story. And sometimes they hop online and they're not sure what to put in the search bar, and they put something in and one of our videos pops up, and then they felt seen for the first time ever. And I guess that's what I realized on that drive home is we all have these moments where we feel like it's not worth it. Like when the pressure and the fear and the anxiety and the self-doubt kind of start to outweigh the excitement of it all. And I think that it's in those moments where growth happens. I learned a valuable lesson this last week, a really valuable lesson. Paige's episode last week isn't completely BS. Listen, there is a time to pause, and I obviously needed to pause. I've been going way too hard, and I've left really no time for myself, and I'm just running on E. And I do need to pause a little bit, but pausing is not the same as stopping. And so in those moments where I'm wanting to stop, the language that was going on in my head was almost like the same kind of like can't win, don't try, kind of like self-pity language that I used to have back when I was using and drinking. That's kind of the same attitude that I took toward a lot of things. It's like as soon as life got tough, I would just disappear. I would quit. I would give up. But I learned something really valuable in recovery that stuck with me. And I hope never leaves, but it seems like sometimes I need a reminder. It's that motivation is unreliable. Motivation is such a delicate thing. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. I think that it has an expiration date, just like desperation. Like a lot of times when we first come into recovery, we are so desperate that we will do anything, absolutely anything. And a lot of people do. They come in early and they'll go to treatment and they'll do the deal. They'll do everything they're told, and they'll get out and they'll start attending support groups or therapy or IOP or PH, whatever it is that you're doing for your recovery. And then at some point, it's like you start to kind of get your life back and you want more balance. And so the first thing that goes is the thing that got you there. I learned that I cannot think myself into acting the right way. I can't think myself into right action. I have to act myself into right thinking. My thinking is unreliable, and it has proven such pretty much my entire life. My actions, on the other hand, are everything. When I am feeling at my lowest, if I just act, the thoughts will come. So when I feel like there's no point in any of this, I just need a break. Maybe the show, 3 years, I know I said 5, but 3 is good. We'll just stick with this. We're good to go. All I had to do was take action. And the action for me was stopping to smell the roses. And it was looking around at everything that this show impacts, and that it's not about me. I'm just the vessel. And as the vessel, I've got to do a better job at managing my time so that you guys can hear the message. The message could come from anyone. And what I hope is that there are other people that hear what we discuss every week, and they're like, hey, We agree with that. We should start one too. Hey, we should start a show. We should start a support group. We should start a movement, whatever it is. I hope so. I hope that the language we use and the things we talk about, I hope that continues to grow. And I hope that people can rebuild their marriages. I hope people can just rebuild their lives if they're outside of a marriage. And I hope that the people can just hear stuff like this and progress, because I think that that alone is such a valuable lesson, that we cannot think ourselves into right action, but I could act myself into right thinking. And when I took the action and I got involved and I was watching her videos, and I watched every one of them, by the way. I don't want to use your name, but just know, I think you know who you are. I hope you do, because you completely turned around everything for me here just recently. So we're even, because it sounds like we've done it for you, and that's a beautiful thing. But I got involved and I was like really watching in the content and like letting it sink in what was going on here at a higher level. And then I got my butt home and I got in front of a microphone, and then I got really, really fired up again. And I feel like the day we started all over again. Action is undefeated. My thinking is got the worst record of all time. My thinking is unreliable. My actions are everything. And I think that that's an important lesson. It's a really important lesson. Paige is really, really big on challenges within the community. There's going to be a new one soon. But something else she's really big on is self-care. And there is a reason that we talk about self-care so much. And it's different than self-indulgence. Again, remember, self-care is the things that are generally you don't want to do, like they're the not sexy part of recovery, which is like getting to the gym, or if you're like me, getting to a meeting, calling your sponsor, doing some step work, doing some work in therapy, reading a book that you've been asked to read, whatever it might be that's part of your recovery journey. Maybe it's having a conversation, making some amends, some of that difficult stuff that's not fun. That stuff is self-care. That is truly caring for yourself. That is caring for your wounds. Self-indulgence has a place too, right? Getting your nails done, getting a good meal, stuff like that. Like that, yeah, that stuff's fun. Don't get me wrong. And it has a place. And sometimes you just need that too. Don't get me wrong. But self-care it's the hard stuff. It's getting that workout in. Tell me, after doing something like that your mindset is not completely different. It completely shifts, especially on the days when you don't want to, when you do not feel like it. I worked a 12-step program, and this is probably true for everyone that works, whatever path of recovery you're working, that it's the days that you don't want to do it that are the most important, that you do something. Those are the most important days, when you can show up in spite of the way that you're feeling. That's when real growth takes place. And I don't have the science in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that's when your anterior mid-cingulate cortex is also flexing its little brain muscles. And that's the part of your brain that makes it easier it strengthens willpower. It makes it easier to do things that you don't want to do. And so over time, you're actually doing yourself a favor, because you're instilling that habit and you're making it easier to do hard things. You act your way into feeling better, not the other way around. I think that's what I'm trying to get at here. And like when you think about quitting and your mind says this isn't worth it anymore, I think that that's usually the threshold kind of between where you are now and who you're supposed to become. And that's a really painful place to be. It's a really, really painful place to be, y'all. I've talked to a lot of people here in the last couple of weeks that are trying to rebuild their marriage. I'm talking about guys who are trying to get sober, and there's so much that you're staring in the face, and there's so much to fix, and you're not really sure where to start. And it can get so overwhelming that you think to yourself, what's the point? Like there's not even a point to any of this. Like it's useless. I've screwed it up too bad. Whatever. Man, we've got to get rid of that thinking. We've got to get rid of that kind of thinking. I am a firm believer that there's nothing that can't be fixed. And maybe that doesn't mean that your marriage makes it out. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that like there is such thing as a total relationship. Don't get me wrong, but fixed in the sense that you can have an amicable relationship with somebody, that you can still be a really, really good parent, that you can be an amazing employee or boss or whatever you're doing for your professional work, and that you can't be someone that other people admire and look up to. Like, I think that something that makes everyone who listens to this show very unique is that when you begin to work on your recovery and you really become someone who's doing the deal. You gain experience that is possibly the most valuable thing in the entire world to people who are outside of it, to people looking in, to the next person that's struggling in their marriage and doesn't know what they should do next. You've got experience that could save their life, to get them out of an abusive situation, to get them to safety, to give them the peace to know that it's okay to walk away sometimes. And on the other side of that, if you're someone like me, your recovery journey is going to inspire somebody else. Like, we are in such a unique position to be helpful to other people. And I'm telling you right now, there is no better feeling in the entire world than being able to help somebody else in this world. There's just not, man, there's not. There's something so pure about that connection when you're giving something to somebody else for nothing, right? This isn't, we're not charging people to sit with them at a coffee shop and talk to them about their life and where it is, and you sharing your experience and they share theirs back. That's just, that's the best thing in the world. That's just that good old fashioned human connection, man. And being in recovery, you have such a unique opportunity to be useful to people and to the world, and like pack good into the world. And for everything going on in the world right now that's awful, like, what a beautiful thing to think that you could be a vessel for something beautiful. And through all this, there could be something so amazing that grows from it. So beautiful. If you go to our website, there's like a little plant growing through concrete. And that was kind of the imagery I wanted to get through when we were making the site, was like something beautiful that comes from something rotten. Like, this situation that we thought would be the end of it for us becomes something that is just so powerful and amazing. And I think it's an amazing opportunity for everyone that listens to the show, because if you're a spouse or partner, man, there's not a whole lot of information for people who are struggling. There's just not. Like, I had someone reach out this week. Friend of a family had someone in their life that they had met that was really struggling, and they got them in touch with the show, with the episodes and things like that. And I actually spoke personally with the person that's struggling with the addiction, and like was able to spend time with this person and give them some hope that you can get better. Like, I promise you, like, it's a guarantee you can get better. I'm not even bullshitting you. It's not even like a small chance. Like, if you did what I did, I promise you it's going to be okay. Like, you're going to be okay at the very least. And there's no telling, like, I can't guarantee people's marriages work out, but you're going to be okay. Like, call me naive. I don't know, man. I'm just like, I am a believer in the human ability and capacity to change when we put our minds to it. And that goes the same for people in addiction as it does for spouses and partners. It really does, man. Like, there's no rule in the rule book that says you have to wake up tomorrow and be the same person that you were today. And I live with that hope forever. I wake up every morning and, man, I'm like a little kid. Like, it was chilly outside this morning. It was like in the 50s. And I woke up and I was like a little dog with the zoomies. Dude, I'm bouncing around the house. Like, I'm so excited about the day. Like, I cannot wait to get going. Like, who can I help today? What can I do? Like, what can I experience? Like, dude, I live for this shit. Like, I really do. Like, I get so fired up every time I get up in the morning and I've got a chance. Like, as long as I've still got a heartbeat, there's a chance. And I hope that you feel the same way. I hope that if there's anything you gain from me before I leave this planet, it's that very thing, that it's not all lost in some shape or form. It may not be the way we wanted it to look, guys. I got to be completely honest about that. It's about reframing hope sometimes. And I have heard from more people than I can possibly count that came to the show. Like, they found the show, they found the community, and they had one outcome in mind, because they saw Paige and I, and they're like, holy shit, these people made it. And if we listen, we can make it too. And some people do, but most people don't. I just need to be honest with you about that. But that was their outcome that they had in their mind. And over the course of years of being in there and listening and processing through all this stuff, they reframed their hope. And they saw that the chances of this person in their life changing to the point that would allow that relationship to continue were basically 0%. And they were able to reframe hope, and they are happier than they've ever been in their entire life. They're sad in some ways, right? You carry that on your heart. That's a chapter in your life that you wish would have ended differently, but the book has to continue. There are new chapters to be written, and that's beautiful. And I think that this is going to sound crazy if you're a partner or spouse listening to this show, but when I first got sober, I kind of felt the same way. And anyone who's ever been addicted to something probably feels this. There's a bit of a mourning period whenever you think about getting sober and when you first get sober. For as rough as that old life was, it was still our life. And it wasn't always bad. And the thought that we're having to change and we're never going to experience some of those things anymore is saddening. And I remember feeling that way early on. Like I was mourning the loss of that old life in some ways. Some things that I wasn't going to be able to get to do again. That it was hard, man. It was really hard. But I reframe hope in my own way. And the life I have today, I wouldn't trade for anything. Nothing. But in the beginning, it's okay if it feels dark, it feels bleak, and you are going to want to give up. There are going to be days where you just feel like, you know what, F it. I don't feel like doing this. I'm sick of it. I'm just going to go back to what's comfortable. Stop yourself right there. Try to remember this episode. Remember my voice. You cannot think yourself into right acting. You have to act yourself into right thinking. So what's the next right thing? What is that thing and do that thing? Maybe that's picking up the phone, that 10,000 pound gorilla of a phone whenever we're struggling and calling someone for help. Hey man, just calling because I'm struggling and I feel like an idiot and I'm sorry to put you out, but I need someone to talk to. I've done it. I've had people do it to me. And I need you to know something. When someone is answering that phone, you're not putting them out because they get as much from it as you do. That's the beautiful part about this deal for people who are just with no strings attached there for one another. Every time after I get off one of those calls, I've learned something too. It's mutual. You think I'm helping you, but you're helping me. Kind of the same thing with this show. That's what I learned the other day when I saw that video. But when it feels like it's not worth it anymore, try to zoom out. Progress doesn't always just show up as results. I talked about that earlier. How when you're trying to do something, you're taking on all these new massive changes. It feels sometimes like you should have results in front of you to show that. Like, hey, I'm changing. My partner should be changing too. It doesn't work that way. It's usually not the way it works. And if it does, it's a very long period of time. I got sober and Paige didn't really get interested in the stuff that I was doing for like 5 to 7 years, y'all. It took a long time. I wanted her to, but it's not my place to tell her how to heal, how to recover. I think that works on the flip side too. As a spouse or partner, if you're working really hard in your own recovery, you kind of side eye them. You're like, are you going to start doing this shit anytime soon? You want those results, right? I think that sometimes the fact that you didn't give up is good enough at the end of the night when you go to bed. I didn't quit today. Whether you're in recovery from addiction or you're recovering as a spouse and you changed a behavior, you responded differently, you focused inward, you were introspective, you took control of your reactions. That's everything. It's everything. I don't care if the house is a wreck. I don't care if the car's on E. That's a lot, okay? And I'm going to be sitting there cheering you on. I know Paige is too. And everyone that gets to be a part of your story will be doing the same thing. Zoom out if you can and look for the little things, the little tiny things, the things that you can't see that are taking place, these little changes that you've made that have fostered some self-belief that you've desperately needed for so long because you're worth it. And then I think that you also kind of have to, this is corny and I think it's overplayed and it's, I don't know, anchor to your why. I think that sometimes we say, remember your why, and it sounds super like MLM-y. Like, tell us what your why is. Why are you here? What's your story? And everyone's got a unique story and you have a why. And I think that it's become such a cliche, but I hate that they've done that to something that's so powerful. Because there is a why behind it all that is so powerful that drives you every single day. And remember what you said before it got hard, why you were doing this. When we first started this show, we wanted to put a message out in the world that could help other people. At some point along the line, the work of it all gets so big that I feel burdened to my why. When my why is my reason for living. Like truly, y'all. If every human has a purpose, and I think that they do, God made me to help other people. That's the reason I exist. That's my one use in life, is to help other people. I am a vessel that can tell stories good enough to help other people. That's my job and that's my why. And it brings me inner peace and satisfaction like nothing else in the world has ever been able to do. And sometimes I forget that. And I'm sure that sometimes you forget your why. Maybe if you're a spouse or partner and you're on your own recovery journey without someone who's still struggling with addiction, or with someone who's sober, but they're not really in recovery or working toward, a better version of themselves. What's your why? Remember what your why was when you started all this. For many of you, it's going to be, I need to figure out who I am again. I feel lost. I don't know who I am. I'm scared. I used to be a different person. And something happened along the lines that I don't know where she went. And if you're someone like me who's struggling with addiction, what's your why, man? What are we doing this for? It's got to be for you, right? That's so cliche, but what does that actually mean? Why are we doing this work? Why are we sitting here and going through this? Why are we putting ourselves through hell? You have to really sit there and think about your reason for it. For me, I knew that I was capable of more, and I wanted that so bad. I would look around at people that, quote unquote, had it together, and I would think to myself, like, what is so rotten about me that I can't have that too? That they just seem to know like what to do next in life, and like they have a healthy marriage and they're a good parent and they have patience and they're able to walk through life, and they're probably not even thinking about taking drugs or alcohol. Like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I have that? For me, I think in the beginning, it was a way of proving to myself that I was worthy of love, that I was worthy of getting the same things that everyone else got. And I knew that I was capable of more, and I wanted to see what that guy looked like. I wanted to meet him so bad. That was my why. And then behind that, there were some other whys. I wanted to be a good dad more than anything in the world. When I went to rehab and they stuck me in the doctor's office, they did an assessment, right? They make sure that you check your blood work and your organs are okay and all that stuff. And they kind of give you an assessment. And the doctor, for the first time, asked me like why I was there. And it was my first day in rehab. I'd just woken up that morning, like my first morning in rehab. And the first words that came out of my mouth were, I just want to be a good dad. And I broke down, man. I was crying and I felt like such a POS. And he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, there's no shame allowed in recovery. I've got my thoughts on that now. I needed to feel that. I didn't need to stay there though, but I needed to feel that. And then bigger than that, it was also, I wanted to be the man that I'd promised my wife. I had said from the time I was 14 years old that I promise you, stick with me one day. Stick with me and one day I'll be a good man. I'll be a good man. I promise you I'll be worth it one day if you stick with me. And I wanted to be that man more than anything in the entire world. And I wanted to be it for myself. I wanted to be him for her, for our children, and for anyone that I would come into contact with. That was my why. And you need to hold on to that. And it's hard to sometimes, man. It's really hard. I've even got it tattooed on my freaking rib cage. I've got Till the Wheels Fall Off tattooed on my freaking rib cage. This is long before the show, by the way. And I've got acceptance as the answer on there as well. Those are two of my whys. And even in the midst of all that, like you have to live it. If you're not living it, it will be forgotten. Even if it's a tattoo, habituation will take over and it'll just be like another tree you pass and forget all about on your way to work. So anchor to that why and live that why. And I think that lastly, you have to take small action anyway. Even when you don't want to, especially when you don't want to, take small action. Momentum isn't born out of inspiration. It's born in doing. It's built through consistency. It's doing the work over and over and over. And it starts with a small action. I have never been able to think myself into right action. I've thought myself into frenzies and stress about what I should be doing. But the antidote for anxiety and stress is action. When I take action, I take those things off my plate and my brain no longer has to worry about them. And that's such a simple concept, but it's much easier said than done. So much easier said than done. So I guess you have to ask yourself, like, what if the moment that I want to quit is the moment that I'm finally about to break through? And you'll never know it unless you keep going. You'll never know. And that I don't mean that for like the show. Like Listen, everything the show's accomplished up to this point is beyond my wildest dreams. And if this is all we ever do, I feel like that is a massive success. Massive success. It has touched so many people's lives and it's changed the direction. And that is so much more than we ever wanted. And if we never do this professionally full time, that's okay. That's awesome. We did it. We did it. And so I want to keep doing it. I want to keep touching people's lives. I know that Paige wants to as well. And I've just got to figure out how to balance that better, man. So I guess when I saw that woman's video, something just clicked in me. It was like, she reminded me what we do, like what any of us do when we show up for other people. And it matters so much more than we realize. Man, that really, really touched me. And I don't know why. We've been tagged in more stuff than I can count. I guess it was in that moment, going through what I was going through and seeing that and like realizing like, that's the whole point, isn't it? This is the whole point. And sometimes I almost forgot this was the whole point. There are going to be people that are listening at like 2 a.m. There are going to be people who are driving home in silence, thinking about it or barely holding it together. And they might not know it, but your strength could be the reason that they don't quit either. And so I made a deal with myself in that moment. And I literally said it to the video in my car, all corny like. I said, I promise that I won't quit if you don't. And so I'm making that promise with you guys. I won't quit if you don't. I'll keep going as long as you do. You keep showing up for you and I'll keep showing up. And we'll do this thing together. You can pull strength from me and I'll pull strength from you. And we'll keep moving together. Maybe it doesn't look exactly like this in 5 years or 10 years or whatever, but we'll keep going. And I will keep doing this as long as you do. As long as you're getting something from it, then that's the whole point. And again, like there was so much pride in that moment. And it wasn't for me and Paige. It was for her. And it was for every listener. It's for everyone's life that's ever been touched by this thing. I was just so proud of her. She was doing the deal, man. There's a woman somewhere far away that I've never met who is doing something because of something we created. And her life is changing because of it. And like that, I could die a happy man right now. I think I've done what I was set out to do. This is what I was created to do. And that's just amazing. And it was just, I don't know. I needed to be reminded of that, man. And it's good to be back. And it feels great to be in front of a microphone again. We actually went to the state fair today. Let's go off on a tangent for a second. Dude, the state fair is like, me and Paige used to go there all the freaking time. The Texas State Fair, if you're from somewhere else, you guys might have a state fair, but it's nothing like this. This thing is absolutely crazy. It's a 3-week long fair with, if it can be fried, it's for sale fried. Literally Paige had a fried s'more today. I had a funnel cake with mac and cheese in the middle, and it had like the dusting of powdered sugar, and then it had candied pork belly on top of it. Like that's the kind of crap that we have there. But we went to the fair today and walked around forever. My back was wrecked. But it was so much fun, man. Like it's been so long since we've gone because we moved kind of a good ways from Dallas. And Dallas, we live in the DFW area, Dallas, Texas. And the Dallas area has grown like so much in the last 5 years that what used to be like a 30 to 40 minute drive is now like an hour and 20, hour 30. And it's just like not even worth it going down there anymore. So we just kind of stay in our bubble up where we're at. And it was awesome, man. But while I was there, I was thinking about like what I'd say this evening whenever I got back to the house, because I had a very similar day. I woke up this morning. I had one of our players reach out and say he needed some extra work at catcher on blocking and throwing. And so I was at the field early working with him. Coached from 8 to 10:30, came home, left home at like 11:15, drove straight to Dallas, walked like way more than my doctor would recommend. Got home. It's late. It's dark. I don't even know what time it is. It's probably close to midnight. And I'm like enthusiastically in front of the microphone. So I'm back, baby, is what I'm saying. I'm back. I'm back and it feels good. It feels really good. So even if I'm still tired, and yeah, I am, I'm grateful. I'm really grateful. I'm grateful for the people who remind me that this work matters. I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for you showing up, because when you show up, it helps me show up. And I know it helps Paige show up. It reminds us why we're doing what we're doing. And I don't know, like, I hope I didn't worry anyone thinking about, oh my God, the show's ending. It's not ending right now. It's not. Will we do this forever? Like, what's forever? Probably not, right? But we'll keep you guys in in the know. Like, this is a relationship that we have with you guys, and we've always been transparent about where we're at with everything. We have no intentions on stopping right now. Okay. Just, you're safe. We're good. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. But I'm grateful for every one of you. I guess sometimes the most powerful reminder of purpose doesn't come from some mountaintop moment, right? It comes from someone saying quietly, like, you've helped me. And I know I've seen this transpire in the community more times than I can possibly count. And I know that more wheelies are listening to this, nodding their heads than I could ever imagine as you're in our Discord or you're in the community and there's someone who's going through it and you're there for them in those moments. And I know that you feel that same sense of purpose that I do and that same responsibility. And it helps you take a responsibility for your own healing. And it lets you know that what you're doing is important and how important it really is. I've seen so many friendships develop because of this thing. And such a strong bond between people that will probably last a lifetime. And it's just amazing to think that it all started from a couple of microphones in front of a brick wall in here. It's just freaking nuts. So if you're feeling burned out, if you're feeling uninspired, ready to walk away, just don't do it. I won't, you can't. We made a deal, y'all. I won't, so you can't either. I won't let you quit and you won't let me. Just pause and breathe and reconnect to your why we're doing this, and then get back up and go again. Because if I'm still going, you have to too. And that's all I've got for this week. It's been awesome. I appreciate you guys joining me. Until next time, I'm Matt, and I'll see you.